Here's a quick 90-second tour of what each application does. So the first application I built, and I've talked about it on this channel, is called Adesua.ai, which is basically a project-based AI learning platform which helps get people out of tutorial hell. I built that, I would say, 9 full days spanning over 2 months, and I'm going to show you how that works as well. The second app I built was aiskillpacks.com, which is basically a working e-commerce store for AI skill packs. So I'm talking about cards, checkouts, customer accounts, the whole thing. I was able to build this over the weekend. And then the third app I built was This AI Tool Does That, which is basically my own company website with an AI-powered business audit embedded in it. Now, prospects experience my work before they are actually able to book me, and it's the most impactful build I've actually shipped, and I was able to also do that one weekend. Now, the fourth application is a content visual application, which is basically in beta right now. It basically generates infographics and carousels on demand from a prompt. And this actually replaced about 4 hours a week of Canva work for me, as I create a lot of content on LinkedIn as well. And the fifth one is an LLM importer. And this is basically a utility for moving conversation data from ChatGPT into Claude or other AI tools. And I built this myself. Again, this was a weekend project. So 5 applications, 5 problem spaces, 0 developers had. Let me break down each one of them, and I'm going to talk about the stack, the cost, the mistake, and the one insight you can actually steal as well. So let me start first with Adesua.ai. So this is basically Adesua.ai. The way Adesua.ai works is that for users who are not on the paying plan, all they have to do is basically come into the projects and they'll be able to pick a particular project they want to build, right? So they can pick a project and they'll be able to continue building the product, right? And if they actually get stuck, they can actually use an AI coach. So I do have an AI coach here that they can actually use. I'm currently out of credit on this account, but once they get stuck, they can actually use the AI coach to help them get unstuck. So this stack here is basically me vibe coding this on Claude Code, hosting it on Vercel, and this is a full stack application. I'm talking about the fact that it has a front end, it has a back end, it has database, everything I built. I would say it took me about 2 months to build this exact one, but because I work full time and I have a family and I have toddlers and everything, I wasn't spending so much time on it. However, I would say that it took me about 9 full days, if you get what I mean, 9 full days of build time, and most of that was more so trying to work on the AI coaching logic, not the front end, how to fine tune this AI coach so that it gives relevant responses. So that is really Adesua.ai. In terms of the total cost, I would say that this cost me less than $50 in API calls and tool subscriptions and everything. Because for some of the tools, I would say that for Claude Code, for instance, I already did have a subscription. So me having to vibe code with Claude Code did not really affect me too much in terms of price. The other API calls I use Stripe, because this is an app that people can actually pay for. I'm actually using Stripe to manage the subscription. So I don't store any customer credit card data on the site. It's all stored securely on Stripe. And Stripe basically has commission-based pricing, so I don't have to actually pay unless someone pays me. Hosting on Click and all that as well, because I'm hosting multiple applications, I didn't have to pay separately for this. So I'd say that in all, the total cost for building Adesua.ai, taking away my time, not including my time, would be like $50. Okay. Now, the hardest part of Adesua.ai wasn't coding. It was more so writing the coaching prompt, which is basically getting the AI to ask questions instead of answer them. But that took me just a few days as well. So my lesson for you is that when you're vibe coding anything with AI in the loop, just make sure that you spend twice as long on the prompts as you do on your UI. Okay, so this app was basically a learning focused application. The second application was my first real e-commerce build. And to be transparent, I'd already tried building e-commerce platforms. I had used Shopify in the past. 3-4 years ago, I had built my website. I had used Shopify. I had used WordPress. And so it was very fascinating how quick, I was able to get the second website done. And here's where I started making a lot of mistakes. So let me transition into the second website, which is basically AI skill packs. And this website, to be fair, I built it just over the weekend. And again, I do have a lot of things that I juggle. So it's not like I was spending my whole weekend trying to build this. It was just a few hours here and there, split over Saturday and Sunday, and I was able to get this done as well. So I had that product in mind because I started teaching about Claude skills, and people would ask me about like how they can get the Claude skills and everything. So I decided to just package this into an offer so that people can easily like purchase them. This is more so like a low ticket offer. And so I knew that for me to package something like this, I needed a store, and I didn't want to put it on Adesua.ai because it serves a different function. I also didn't want to put it on this AI tool does that.com because it serves a different function. I knew that Shopify would also be an overkill because this is just a concept I'm trying out, and I wasn't guaranteed I was going to get even a lot of sales. So I wanted full ownership. I thought Shopify was an overkill. I didn't want to spend time in WordPress templates and everything. So I just decided to build my own. And so again, the way this works is I do have like multiple packs here. So for instance, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I do usually have like live streams over the weekend. And so I've been doing the job search series using Claude skills. So you'd see that all the skills I talk about, the resume tailoring skill, the LinkedIn optimizer skill, job tracker skill, all these skills are actually in the skill pack here. So again, people can just come in here, they click on buy now, you enter your name, you enter your email address, and then once you pay, you're able to download your skill and you can use it. Again, I'm not storing any payment information here. All payments are being stored on Stripe, and so I don't keep any customer information here. If I wanted to keep certain customer information in here, then I need to be compliance, visit PCI compliance and all that. So I don't want all that stress. So yeah, the stack here, again, I basically vibe coded this using Claude Code, hosting on Vercel, using Stripe for payments. It's basically the same stack for Adesua. That's the point. One stack mini builds. And the truth about this as well is that like when it comes to vibe coding, once you're able to do it once, it's so repeatable. Because I realized that after I built Adesua.ai, I don't think I would spend that much time building another application because it's the same repeatable process. Once you do it once, you can just do it multiple times as well. So yes, again, the time it took me, I just built this over the weekend. Again, less than $50 to get this off the ground. And again, if I wanted to use Shopify, then I'll be paying about $500 a year. If I wanted to go with an agency, I would have to pay like, let's say $12K for, let's say, 3 months, and I would have to go through several UAT sessions, but then I was able to do this in less than a week, okay? And now this is really the mistake I did, okay? Which is this one. So one thing happened is that like a user hit refresh in a loop during checkout, and my API routes fired every single time. So since I didn't have like any rate limits or anything, I didn't have a cap, I lost a lot of money in API charges and all that one afternoon. So one thing I would like to say is that vibe coding would happily help you ship insecure code if you make that mistake. Not because it's malicious, but because it gives you what you asked for. So you have to ask for like the boring part too, right? So now I do have prompts that I use anytime I'm done vibe coding. I make sure that I run these specific prompts so that they basically harden my code and they help me ensure that I don't have any leaky areas in my application. That's the first real serious mistake I made that actually cost me a lot of money. So we'll come back to more of those at the end, but I want to talk about the third application I built. And this is the one I'm most proud of, and it's the one that actually drives my business. So my business is this AI tool does that. What I do is I basically help non-technical founders and businesses and non-technical leaders build with AI. So this is really my site. And I used to have like this site at first in WordPress. But then again, like anytime I wanted to make a change, I had to go into WordPress, look at the themes and everything. And I was just getting so tired of it. So I just decided to just dedicate again one weekend to vibe code the entire site. And what's very interesting about this is that someone will look at this and say, oh, this is just a website you built, right? No, the fascinating thing about this is that now I have a free AI audit. And so what happens here is that before a customer books a discovery call with me, they would actually come in here, they'll fill out the audit. And once they fill out the audit, I'll get to know about their business. And then they can decide to basically reach out to me if they want to continue working with me, or if they're satisfied with the reports they get, they can just continue with that. So I actually built this into the site, and it's been amazing, right? It's been amazing because one, this is free, but also like it's helped me with like filtering out people who will not be necessarily the ideal client as well. And because it's free as well, people have found this very helpful. In terms of the model running behind the audit, I'm actually using Opus 4.6 or now Opus 4.7. So best rest assured, like if you use this audit, you know that you are getting very good information for your business. Again, I'm using the same stack here. What's different here is that I'm using the Claude API for the audit side of things. For Adesua.ai, the AI coach I'm using is basically an open weight model called Kimi 2.5 for Adesua.ai. But for this audit, free AI audit tool, I'm actually using Claude Opus 4.6. So again, notice the pattern here. The stack doesn't change. Still using the same Claude Code, Vercel, the same stack. And again, the only difference now is like, it didn't take me 9 days to ship. It took me just the weekend to actually ship. Again, the cost and time it took, I already talked about the time. But in terms of the cost, again, I would say that it's less than $50 because most of these applications, I'm already paying for them. So it's actually not costing me so much now to host this, right? I used to host my website on SiteGround, and every year I was actually paying about $400. But now with Vercel pricing, it's very affordable. It makes a lot of sense to me. It's like $20 a month or so. So it actually makes a lot of sense financially for a small business as opposed to like using SiteGround. One insight I would like to talk about though is like your marketing site should actually earn its rents. And most small business sites are very passive. They actually sit there, they convert maybe 1% of visitors, but mine actually runs the audit, right? It gives like an interactive experience. It actually converts. So if you provide it with like the right information, you're actually going to get a good report out of it. I'm not going to share my conversion data just yet, but it's meaningfully higher than what I used to have when I was using WordPress for the site. Because on WordPress, I didn't have the free AI audit. So the lesson for you here is like every page of your marketing site should have one job. If you want to have like a homepage that tries to do everything, then you will not be able to convert as much, which is why I have like this free AI audit sitting on its own page. Okay, so now let me talk about apps 4 and 5. Those ones are a bit private right now. So app 4 actually is an app I created to help me with generating visuals for my content creation on LinkedIn. I plan to commercialize it, but it's actually in a testing phase right now because I want to actually test it first to make sure that these visuals I'm actually using in here actually convert, and then I can make it public and commercialize it as well. But this is something that has tremendously been so helpful because in the past, I would actually be spending so much time on Canva, trying to make infographics, trying to make carousels, not because the design was hard, but because the decisions were hard for me. Like I'll be thinking, okay, should I use this template? Should I use that template? And sometimes I'll see a very nice template on LinkedIn and I'll try to replicate it and it'll be taking so much time. So now all I have to do is I just have to come in here, enter a prompt, and it would basically generate these carousels for me, right? So for instance, if I should just use my LinkedIn post for today, for instance, and I just basically put in the exact caption to my LinkedIn post, right? Or maybe I just see a random LinkedIn post here. I'm just going to copy this, right? So I just copy this post from LinkedIn. I just come in here. Maybe I just select one of these examples here. I select a visual type, put in the post in here, click on generate. It's actually again going to generate the infographic for me. So then again, it's saving me a lot of time. So as you can see, the infographic has been generated for me. And as I scroll through LinkedIn, if I see any fancy infographic I like, I just try to like onboard it onto my app, right? So that at the end of the day, when people start paying for these infographics, they will get real value from it. So again, this is one example of an infographic that I was able to generate using the application I just built as well. And again, the stack is the same. I'm still using Claude Code. Like I said, like once you're able to do it once, it just becomes repeatable. Again, this is something I started working on over the weekend, and it's actually at a point where I can actually use it. I actually use it in my post for LinkedIn this week. This app is definitely saving me at least 3 hours or 4 hours every week, because again, I don't have to manually go into Canva to try and design an infographic or like a carousel or something like that. It actually saves me a lot of time, and I don't have to pay for like the Canva Pro subscription as well. And this is going to save me a lot of time forever, right? Because I really enjoy creating content on LinkedIn. So yeah, the math here is that over a year, this one weekend of vibe coding actually will save me about 156 hours. And that's like 4 working weeks of my time. Just think about it. It blows my mind. So vibe coding isn't like just about shipping products. It's about building your own infrastructure, right? The boring internal tools that can actually multiply your outputs. And so non-technical leaders or non-technical business owners, don't skip this category, right? The highest return on investment for vibe coding isn't the SaaS you launch. It's actually the internal tool you build for yourself. Because like, I don't know if you've experienced it, but there are certain apps that can only do everything you want it to do to the T, right? It might do certain things, it might not do certain things, but now you can do everything. Like, you have the chance to bake in everything you need to do in your own application. So it's amazing. So this same logic applies to the fifth app I built. And that's something I built for myself. That was super quick. So at some point, I was really considering like moving my data from ChatGPT to Claude. And also I wanted to move my data to Manus as well. So I was actually like trying to figure out like the best way to do this. And so I was looking online and I didn't really see any tool that could actually help me do this. So I decided that, okay, let me build one for myself, you know? And again, I didn't spend the whole weekend on it. I just like logged in on a Saturday and I was able to also get this done. So this again is the same stack, right? It's the same stack. It takes my ChatGPT export file, it passes it, imports the conversation into Claude as projects. And this basically just took my Saturday. And the stack is the same, right? It's the same stack I've used for Adesua.ai. It's the same stack I've used for this AI tool does that. It's the same stack I've used for the AI skill packs .com as well. And this is the one most people would dismiss because it's not really a product, but it's the proof that matters, right? You can vibe code a utility that moves data between LLMs. You can vibe code your internal ops, your reporting tools, your client dashboards, and all that. The bar is lower than you think. So again, if you're a non-technical leader, a non-technical business owner, you're a products manager, you should just build a tool you use tomorrow, and that's your first ship. So, okay, so 5 apps, 5 problem spaces, 90 days. How did I actually do this? I'm going to give you the exact 5-step playbooks I used on every single one of these, okay? Now, if you are taking nothing at all from this video, just make sure you take these 5 steps away. And I've used those 5 steps, every single application I've vibe coded. They work for all product builds, whether it's internal tools, utilities, anything. So the first one is make sure you pick a problem, not the app idea. So as you can see, as I was talking, I started building these apps to actually solve a problem I was facing or a problem someone in my audience brought up, right? So never start with like, I really want to build this app. Always start with what's the problem I have this week? Because applications are just solutions, but problems are more like specs, right? And what you want is the specs. So example, with a content visual generator, I didn't say I want to build a Canva alternative. I said I was actually spending so many hours a week trying to design this in Canva on Sundays. And I hated it because like I have toddlers, I don't have so much time. And so that was like a real pain that I really needed to get off my chest. And so that was like the real spec, right? Now, the second one is write the 3 prompt specification. So number 1, like the first prompt would be like, who is the user? What's their job? What does success look like? Give me a 1-page plan. Number 2, the second prompts could be like, describe the first screen, field by field, what the user sees and does. And then number 3, what's the minimum viable product? What are we shipping this weekend, right? That's it. Don't write a 40-page PRD. Otherwise, you're just going to get exhausted and you're probably going to get demotivated and you probably will not continue shipping, right? 3 prompts can just get you a spec sharp enough to ship. Now, the third step or the third playbook here, ship the ugly version in 48 hours. Don't try to polish it. Don't pick the perfect front end. Don't iterate on the landing page multiple times. Just get it working. Because get it working end to end, at the end of the day, you just want a working app, right? If it's ugly, it's fine. But missing features are also fine. Just ship it, right? Because the apps I tried to polish before shipping, they are the ones that I never got to ship. Trust me, like I've started so many other apps that I haven't shipped. These are the ones that I've actually shipped. That's why I'm talking about them. And then step 4, use it for 3 days and let it tell you what is actually broken, right? Your own usage, we call it dog fooding. Like, just try your own application. Just keep doing it. Become the QA engineer for your application, right? Your own usage is the fastest QA cycle on the internet because you would find bugs in day 1, you find 3 UX problems in day 2, 3 missing features in day 3, and that's your iteration list. And it's grounded in real use, not speculation. Okay, so if you've watched me till this time, here's what I would want you to do next. If you're a non-technical business leader watching this, you've actually got an idea sitting inside a Notion document right now. You've had it for 6 months, maybe longer. That idea isn't waiting for a developer. It's actually waiting for you to just pick up your laptop, open Claude, Lovable, any of those tools, and start building. If you want to ship this alongside other non-technical builders such as PMs, operators, consultants, small business founders who are actually doing this week by week, then I'm opening the doors on my AI community. It's a paid community with live monthly builds, a template library. Every prompt and workflow from these 5 applications are built, office hours, and a 30-day track to actually ship your first 2. It's $39.99 a month. The first 50 founding members actually get that rate logged in for life. After 50 members, the price is going to increase. The link is in the description box below. I'm also going to leave it on the screen. If you're not ready for the community yet, that's also fine. You can grab my free builds and templates at thisai2doesthat.com/free resources. I'm also going to leave that in the description box. If you only do one thing from this video, okay, just pick the one tool you use by Friday if it existed. Open Claude tonight, run the 3 prompt spec I talked about, start, and then next week, I'm actually also going to be breaking down some of the things that burned me while building these 5 applications. And I'll talk about every mistake, every fix. So just be on the lookout for those videos as well. I also do have a course I recorded on LinkedIn Learning. I'm also going to leave that in the description box. If you want to actually watch my process, I have a course on LinkedIn Learning showing exactly how I built all these applications. I'm going to leave the link in the description box as well. But that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe and see you in the next one.